to come at you hard. And I think I'm not completely versed, but from what I understand, Elon's already suffering the lawfare tactics, which they're going to do. They're going to keep pulling out the hat to try and slow him down or stop his.
Andrew, let me interrupt before I forget. I don't give him any attention. The same law firm that came after me with these PR firms.
You've just dropped out, I think, Alex.
It's just
Not
dropped
sure if
out.
anyone else can. Yeah, I
No,
think you got a call. No, you got a call. Yeah, go ahead, Alex.
There is a 3-letter agency running this. Not all of them, but let's just say it starts with a C and it ends with an A. Sorry, go ahead, Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's liberal NGOs which will sponsor agents of the Matrix. They'll sponsor females to end up in a house party and then lie to try and then put you in a Romanian jail cell and get you sitting with the cockroaches in a dungeon. And it's a very scary world where you get to a point where you're only trying to tell the truth, and they're going to punish you for that using endless lawfare. And this battle has only just begun. But the Matrix has truly cracked now, and it's going to be extremely hard to lie to us like they did before with X, the way it currently is. And I think it came at exactly the right time. I almost, without trying to sound pessimistic, there was a point where I kind of felt like I was losing hope. You couldn't tell the truth about anything. Everything was a lie. Everything from head to toe was a lie. And they're trying to lock us all back in our houses again. And we can finally talk about it. It's truly heroic. And Elon's taking massive risk, and the respect I have for him for doing that is enormous.
Absolutely. I mean, this is what happened. I'm going to shut up. So I want to hear from Elon, but this is so historic. Elon Musk's courage, and it's true, I'm saying, has broken the back of the globalists. They'll never be able to turn this around again unless they have a nuclear war. Elon Musk has broken their back.
Yeah. Well, I guess some people are afraid to die, but I am not.
That's and you know what? It's kind of crazy because I was talking to someone the other day and I was explaining. They were asking about my seizure, how they took all my houses, all my money, all my cars, blah blah. And I said, you never truly own anything on this earth anyway. You can have a piece of paper that says you own it, but if you piss off the government structures, they just get a judge to stamp a different piece of paper and you no longer own it. The only thing you own is your soul and your integrity. And this is the one thing they cannot take away from you, no matter what they do to you. And that is the best feeling on earth. It doesn't matter if you can sell your soul to the devil and repeat what they want you to say, but then you truly own nothing. And
Yeah,
I think
I
that
agree.
as history books look back on this pivotal moment when X was finally freed and the information of the world could finally be spoken freely, I really do believe we're on the right side of history. And if you were to ask me if there's anything worth dying for, it would be for the freedom of humanity and to be on the right side of history. So I agree with you absolutely, Elon.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, I'm just generally in favor of civilization and the furtherance of civilization. And I think we should always be concerned that we can regress as a civilization. And if you study history, you can just see the arc of one civilization after another as the civilizations rise and fall through history. Um, we've been in a period of civilization rising very rapidly, but we should be concerned that it it, it may we may be cresting, we may subside, and there are many times where I get late stage civilization vibes, and I'm just worried that maybe we're cresting as a civilization and perhaps headed for a fall.
Well,
So yeah.
Well, I agree with you because I truly believe, and a lot of people have ever said this before me, this is not original idea, but I think as AI and machines and tech increases, a lot of people are going to be deemed useless by the overlords. And then you have to sit and decide what are they going to do with all these people who have hopes and dreams and they want healthcare and they want a garden and they want a house to live in and they don't want to be treated like cattle. They're going to become extremely inconvenient. So I don't think many people at home understand that this war cannot be avoided. I've had a lot of people who understand why they threw me in jail in Romania and understood I've done nothing wrong, and they said to me, why do you take up this fight? Why you don't just delete your Twitter and disappear and drive a Ferrari all day? And I explained that this war cannot be avoided. You're either on the front line and you're fighting for something, or you're sitting waiting to die. You're waiting for the Mongol horde to come over the horizon and chop your head off.
No, I
There's no
totally
way out
agree.
of it.
And just to throw this in there, if you read, and Elon, I knew you were doing great work. When I saw you 6 months ago at the World Government Summit, where they're all just saying we're going to make everybody eat bugs and we'll make the decisions to put microchips in them, and you said, we don't want a centralized system. We want a diverse system. We want firewalls. And I don't agree with this Tower of Babel you're building. They know that we go through cycles and they want to artificially create a great reset collapse, in their own words, to make everybody else poor, consolidate power, and they'll have a smaller type 2 civilization for themselves. And I think you're trying to build a type 2 civilization, or even a type 1 civilization, I should say, for all of us. And
Right.
you said we need to have a debate about. We need to have a debate about going interstellar. We've got to expand or
Yeah.
we collapse. And Elon Musk is saying, correct me if I'm wrong, You don't stay in stasis. You either expand or
Correct.
you collapse. They're
Yes,
artificially
exactly.
creating.
You,
Sorry, go
you
ahead.
either grow, or you collapse. You don't. The steady state is basically an impossibility. So you have to pick it. You have to make a choice. Do you want to grow civilization, or do you want to decline and collapse? And because steady state is not stable. So, and I say we grow, and I say we expand, and we have more humans, and we become a multi-planet species and a spacefaring civilization, and ultimately be out there among the stars. And I think that is the exciting, inspiring thing for the future, not a declining human civilization that dwindles to nothingness and where humanity dies with a whimper.
And that's the bottom line. I think it is the battle of people who believe in humans and humanity and want it to expand against people who are so selfishly going through the earth and so selfishly orientated that they don't care about expanding civilization. They just want to control the humans that are currently here.
And
And it's
Andrew, I totally
it's
agree with you.
hubris and
And
an
Elon,
arrogance.
I totally, but let me throw this caveat on it because I've read the writings of Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab and the Club of Rome. They know we could easily expand. There's plenty of room,
There
hundreds of
is.
billions of known galaxies. They know that this is just a seed that's going to not just grow into one giant oak, but an entire forest, an entire universe. And so they want to shut everybody else down because they can't deal with the competition from the Elon Musk that come out of the general public. They want a global tyranny so they can direct it and control it so that they direct the expansion. And we can't let that happen because they literally talk about in Agenda 21, the official UN plan, a 90% world population reduction. So we need to go with the Elon Musk plan. And that's why I tell people that get upset, they go, Elon Musk is involved in every advancing technology. The globalists are pushing that too. Well, technology is like a gun. It's whose hand it's in. And so we need the gun in the people's hands, the gun of expansion, instead of in the globalist hands. And so just because Elon Musk is on the cutting edge of every technology, don't fear the technology like some troglodyte. Fear us not being in control of it. And Elon is saying we need to be an expansionary human explosion of competition and freedom, not some new dark age with a tiny breakaway civilization that's only working for itself. Sorry, I'm ranting.
No, but you're completely right. Because if Elon doesn't push these boundaries, they will push these boundaries. And once they have the sole control and the monopoly over such technologies, it's over for all of us. And I don't think most people understand. It simply is the humanistic view against the death cult view. And there's people in the world who have
Yes.
they have no interest in growing humanity, no interest in advancing the species as a whole. Their interest is in power and
True.
control. And all they want to do is have absolute power over the people that currently exist and their children. And you can talk about all the perverse reasons they want to do those exact things. But it's truly scary. And all the people at home who don't really understand the gravity of this fight, they seem to think it's right wing, left wing, ha ha ha. It's
Yes,
a big
exactly.
joke.
They're thinking about it the wrong way. Sorry, I just got a little X here. But you're totally exactly. This right left it's the wrong way to think about it. It's the sort of the extinctionists versus the pro-humans. And once you see that it's extinctionists versus the pro-humans, then it becomes very clear.
So, Elon, when are you going to? I know you got 100 irons to the fire, but when you talk about we need to create a plan B for humanity, well, that's really
No, it's not.
plan
It's not
A.
a plan. I mean,
An
as I said,
alternate master plan because the globalists are in
oh,
control right now. You're trying to wrest control with us, helping. I mean, when are you going to put out your battle plan, or are you already putting it out in pieces?
no. I mean, what I'm saying is that actually, I think we should expand humanity. Like basically, we should have basically more kids. Population should increase. And and we should become a multi-planet species and make life multiplanetary, build a self-sustaining civilization on Mars, and then ultimately, this will be long after I'm dead, probably, but well, almost certainly, we can go to other star systems and go out there and I don't know, maybe we'll find some long dead alien civilizations. And I don't think we want to be one of those lame one planet civilizations that never got beyond, its home planet. I mean, we gotta, what are the aliens gonna think of that? It's like we gotta make a good showing. Team Human,
Well,
let's
yeah,
go.
and that would absolutely that would be
LFG.
certainly disappointing. But
So
it's essential and truthfully, it's so amazing we'd even speak about these things. Only 2 years ago, you couldn't even speak about these subjects, but it's so pertinently obvious to anyone who pays attention. And It is scary, and expansion and humanistic views are certainly the way to progress, and it has to be done. There's no other way. Just like a business, just like you guys said, if you stand still, you die. And it takes a few brave people to break the matrix. You have to break the dam, and I think bravery is so important because it puts a crack in the dam, and it shows that if there's people out there brave enough to risk getting canceled, risk lawsuits, risk lawfare, then it's going to inspire bravery amongst the rest of the populace. And it becomes extremely hard to lie to brave people. And I think that that's one of the largest pandemics of Earth today is bravery. And when I say bravery, I don't mean that in any kind of negative connotation. Bravery is being full of love and loving the people around you and sticking up for your community and loving where you live and loving your country. And it's brave to do those things. And it's love
What do
that's
the
going to crack the
globalists teach
matrix
us?
in the end.
Children are bad. We're ugly. Humans create, all this racial division. They want us to hate each other, so we just
Yeah.
give up, roll over, so the globalists can have the future.
I would just
Yeah,
like
and
to
I think
say
the
here.
globalists are short-sighted too, because the thing is that you can't really separate yourself from civilization. So I think those who are sort of advocating like it's really I think it's just logical to be pro-civilization. You don't actually necessarily have to be altruistic. You just have to think long-term and say, obviously, you cannot exist in any good way without civilization. I mean, just watch one episode of Naked and Afraid and see how much you want to go live in a forest by yourself.
Well, we're in
It's
a very
it's not fun.
we're in a super pivotal moment now, and the reason we're in a pivotal moment is because the machines cannot do the policing as of yet. My brother and I often
True.
talk about how bad COVID would have been if they had Terminator machines. You didn't have your mask on. You couldn't even appeal to the empathy of the person who knew how insane it all was. As soon as the
Yeah.
machines control the policing, it's absolutely over. And we're not that far away. So we're in a very pivotal period now where the bravery that's required to resist the globalist oppression has to happen now. Soon the
I
technology
absolutely,
will exist and it's
I
over for
absolutely agree.
everybody.
We are at the critical crossroads right now in the entire future of the human destiny, and I called it Plan B, but I mean, Elon, what do you call it? Just an alternate plan for humanity? Because we could have a debate because the Black Rocks and the globalists are right now in control. If they were 100% control, you and others have felt rested to maybe they're in 80% control. They're losing control very quickly as people discover what they're doing. But what would you call the debate and discussion about a pro-human future? Just team humanity?
Yeah, Team Humanity, absolutely. That sounds good. But I think like something that is really important is like you just literally have to have kids, or there's no next generation. Alex, do you have kids?
Yes, I do. I'm not as prolific as you, but I wish I was. They're the best thing in my life. I have 4.
Okay, great. And Andrew?
I do have a few. I won't let you down, Elon. I'm
Okay,
coming to
good.
take over your title. I'm coming to take over. I'm doing my best. I got to
Okay.
use my good looks for something.
Well, I think we need to. I think we ought to encourage people to have kids
And
and
this
just
is the bottom line argument. This is what is so important. We just talked about how the globalists are ultimately selfish and only care
Well,
about
look at
their own power and
most of the
control.
globalists don't have children, and
Of course,
what
because they're
happens
selfish.
Here's the
when you
thing,
have a child?
you guys are all attacking the globalists, but if you ask a globalist, like I have friends who I would consider globalists, you ask them, their ideologies are aligned that they believe that somebody living across the world is just as valuable as somebody who lives in America. And I know, there's
They've already
arguments.
enslaved the third world, and they're using them as.
No, but that's not how everybody who you would categorize as
No, you're
a
right. There's a lot of
globalist
useful
thinks. No,
idiot globalists,
that's
but the
not.
globalists at the top are depopulationists. That's their
Oh,
religion.
maybe if you want to look at the top, you can say globalists at the top. Some of them might have that view, but if you just talk to an ordinary person who views themselves as a globalist, they're not saying, "Oh, I'm evil." They're not an evil person. They just have this belief that every human being around the globe is equal. That's
I would
all
call
they're
that an
looking at. So
internationalist. That's an internationalist. A globalist wants one world government run by corporations.
yeah, well, I think you can label them differently, but I think if you talk to somebody who's
Well,
a
Henry
globalist, they're gonna.
Kissinger was a globalist. Zbigniew Brzezinski was a globalist. I'm not trying to be mean to you, but their number one rule is the Earth is too small. We can't expand. We've got to bean count and put everybody on rations. We've got to social engineer and end the normal human program because humans are failed. And they want to turn us into factory farm humans. Those are allowed to survive.
Yeah,
I think.
I'll answer the question. I'll answer the question
sorry
quickly.
guys, if we can just say like some of these titles are a little confusing. If say someone's an internationalist or a globalist, I think where what can achieve some disambiguation here is to say like does someone have as an axiomatic belief that there are too many people on the earth, or do they not? Do they believe that the Earth can sustain the current population, or do they think it cannot? Now, the reality is Earth can actually handle a human population probably 10 times larger than the current
Yes.
population. Earth is actually very sparsely populated by humans. We only see density because if we're a dense urban environment like New York or Boston, London or something like that. But if like here would be like a good test. If you took a plane from LA to New York and you try to drop a bowling ball and hit somebody, your chances of success are basically zero.
You'd have to drop 10,000 bowling balls, maybe.
Yes, you just and I'll tell you sort of something that may scare people a little bit is that there are thousands of objects falling onto Earth from space all the time. But how often do you hear about someone actually getting hit by falling
Right.
by meteorites? It's
I think
Absolutely.
very
there's one known case of a woman with her house getting hit by one.
Elon,
yes.
I want to just respond to Ed actually for a second because again, when it comes, I think it's good to get a good counter view here. I think that there's two different things going on, Ed. And I know what you're trying to say, but there's a separate point about your obligations, right? So you can, and I believe everything has been said about the importance of expansionism for humanity being pro civilization and expansion pro human race to win. That's like a separate axis, though, from saying where are your obligations where you are, right? So we talked about procreation and family. Then we talked about the nation. Well, look, I have two kids. As a father, my moral obligation, I believe, is first and foremost to my family. And then, let's say, as a president, my moral obligation is to the citizens of the nation that I lead. And then you can worry about hunger in the Congo or whatever else needs to happen in the Darfur or in other places. And so I don't think that you're saying necessarily that life.
Charity begins at home.
Exactly. And that's not saying that life abroad is any less valuable inherently. And so when you say like the globalist view is that all it's saying is that all life is equal wherever it is on Earth, it's not like I think an alternative view is countering that. There's also just a separate place in terms of where you're situated. Where's your obligation, right? As a father, it's to your family. As a president, it's to your country. And just because you believe that's the hierarchy of your obligations means somebody else is the leader of one of those other countries. And that's an obligation that they have too. But that's like a different discussion.
Well, the neoliberals,
Yep.
the neoliberals in their own PR, they're the ones doing the worst things on the earth. They just say, "Oh, we want global government because we want to give Africa's representation." Then they lock them down for 3 years and starve 30 million of them to death, and then organize them to flood us as a political underclass. This is cold-blooded Henry Kissinger's State Department Memorandum 200. I mean,
Yeah,
they've got.
It's not black and
I think
white,
there's
though,
two different
right? So, like,
conversations.
but what
yeah.
is black and
Wait,
what is
but can we
what
just?
is
I'm sorry.
what is
Just,
black?
Go
can
ahead,
we?
Andrew. Go ahead, Andrew, and then we'll go to Dave. Andrew.
Okay.
What I do believe is black and white is simply, if you read a history book, you'll see the worst things that humanity have ever done have been done with good intentions. That's what's so bad about evil acts, is that people
Road to
think they're
hell.
doing the right thing. And that's the most dangerous thing about it. And this idea that they look at all human life as sacred and all the same, I actually disagree. I think the reason they will prioritize people in a third world country, for example, you'll say it's because they see us as equal. I think it's because they see us now as spoilt and annoying. They don't like that we need pensions and living space and healthcare. They simply want slaves and a robot class, and they'll do anything it takes to get it, and they'll get it from anywhere they can. And when someone comes along and says, "Well, my intentions are good," I'm not interested in that, because you can name any Holocaust or any atrocity in history. The people didn't think they were the bad guys. They often thought they were the good guys. And I guess the easy way to look at life is you want to be having as many children as possible. You want to pray other people do the same, and you want those people to enjoy freedom. And anyone who's coming along restricting speech, restricting access to certain things, restricting movement, restricting, all they're doing is trying to restrict so they can control. And nobody in a history book ever who did that either was the good guy. I think it's very clear to see who's on the right side of history and who isn't. And I advocate freedom for everybody. If I disagreed with absolutely everything Alex said, I'd still be glad he's back on X. And these people can't even handle a different opinion. Do you think they're going to allow the people of a different opinion to them to share water or share food or share anything else once they have
And the
absolute
reason they don't
control?
want another opinion is they want to misrepresent what Elon Musk or Andrew Tate or Vivek Ramaswamy or any of. I'm telling you, they want us silenced so they can lie about what we said.
Yeah.
I have a
I agree with you there. I
Hold on. We'll go, Jackson. I'm going to go to you right after Dave.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
I
Ed,
mean, I'm just saying, I agree that with you there. I think that a lot of the media and a lot of these platforms do want to silence voices because they want their voice to be heard louder. So yeah, I definitely hear you there. I definitely don't. I definitely, as when it comes to globalists, I think, it's not black and white. You're not either a globalist or you're not. I think people fall in between, and there's different reasons for why people might feel one way about one, you could say globalist idea and another. So I mean, I don't like painting people like, with a black and white pen, because I feel that everybody falls somewhere in the middle.
All
Can I
I
just
know
say,
is this: that there are people that want a corporate world government whose aim is depopulation and not giving the general public access to technology by lying about resources and literally saying carbon dioxide that plants breathe is evil, and then telling us the world's going to end in 2030 and the ice caps are all going to melt, and none of that's true. So our children basically give up on the future and decide not to have children. That's all I'm saying. And Elon Musk is promoting an optimistic, pro-human future that the science and evidence shows is real and that we need.
Gentlemen, I have to
Yeah,
go.
yeah. I just want to be sort of yeah, exactly. I want to be very clear about
See
my
you, Jake.
position. I'm super pro-human, and I mean all humans. Humans in America, humans in
Somebody's got
Africa,
their thing open
Asia,
peeing.
and
Somebody's
everywhere
got
else.
their phone open in the bathroom.
Yeah,
Phone.
that's Vivek. Vivek, that's your phone, Vivek. I'm not able to mute you. Vivek. All right,
um,
perfect. Go ahead, Elon.
um,
Sorry about that.
so, well, I hope you feel better
I feel
now.
great. Thank you. Sorry about that, guys.
Um, so yeah, I'm super pro-human, like for Team Humanity here, and I just think we want to make sure that people have a positive view of the future, like I think I encounter a lot of people who have actually very pessimistic conclusions about the future, and if you try to unpack that and say where does that pessimism come from, and I think like these are like good people, like they have good intentions. I think they think about things often come from is believing that that there are too many humans on the planet. This is false. Earth can easily sustain far more than the current population, um, and but they've been told this thing and they've believed it, and it is false.
I'm
Now
going to sign out,
I'm
gentlemen.
very pro environment.
Bye,
Obviously, I
Andrew.
think I might have done more about more. I've certainly I might have done more for sustainable energy than maybe any single human. So I would consider myself an environmentalist, but I also believe in physics and reality and not sort of being alarmist about things.
Well, something you said was really smart, and because I've seen the equations. I'm not a mathematician or rocket scientist like you, but we need the fossil fuels to get to the new technologies and
that is
transfer
true.
over. You can't cut
Yes.
them all off and then not have it. They're blowing up the bridge that gets them there.
Yes.
Gentlemen,
Andrew.
what I would like to say,
Go ahead.
my final point, I would like to say, I often get asked by people who follow me, they say, who do you think who controls the world? Who do you think the Matrix is? And I use the Matrix as a very simple way to explain that they purport a false version of reality that everyone buys into to keep your mind occupied so they can extract your body heat from you for the soulless machines, which are essentially the globalists we're talking about. And I try and say that I still believe that we run the world. There's a lot more of us than them. We still control the world. It's just down to what we will accept and what will allow them to do to us. And that's why bravery is so essential and so important. And I know I can come across as brash with my
No,
message, but
no, you're not. You need to
when I'm
stop
telling
giving up
16
our
year olds,
power.
when I'm telling 16-year-olds to go and get rich and buy a fast car and train hard and go to the gym, etc., because these young men are far less likely to blindly comply. And it's extremely important that they don't psyop the next generation of young masculine youth.
And
And
that's why
we
the
still
system was scared of you, Andrew, because you were doing an extreme version of it to shock them out of it, to show them how to have a destiny, how to have desire, how to want to be into the future. And then that's
well,
the same thing in a different way that Elon's doing.
you're right. We still control the world, and it's down to what we will accept. And it's going to take bravery and love. You need to love the people around you, and love the human race, and love the place you're from. And I just want to wrap up by saying that I would never kill myself. And if they put me back in that dungeon to starve, I hope you will all do your very best to get me out because I'm in a very
We will,
precarious
Andrew.
legal
Love you.
situation.
Can I just throw something out? Because I'm going to talk to Elon Musk here and everybody else. And this is surreal. Andrew Tate and Vivek Ramaswamy. This is crazy. John, I've got a friend I want to get on. We also have Mark Dice, who's really stood up for free speech. He's on the line if he can get a quick
I'm going to leave
question in.
Alex, but I just want to say welcome on Twitter, and I think there will be more truth than not, all else equal. So hail to the
Thank you,
truth.
gentlemen.
Take
Thank
it
you
easy,
very
guys.
much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vivek.
Bye.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Vivek.
I
I'll bring up
I
Mark.
have one quick question.
Go ahead, Jack.
So I guess the premise as to why Alex was banned for so long was that he supposedly lied about an atrocity, and that goes against X community guidelines.
That's not quite correct. the at least obviously this was before you know the I acquired the company, but the actual reason for suspending him was he basically insulted a journalist. Uh,
Well, was
that was
wasn't
that
like
was not.
your purpose for keeping him
Well, he
still
believed
banned?
that because the media had said that. Now he's learned that, right?
I'm
No,
just going off of
I
what
literally just looked at the logs for reason for suspension that was basically a third strike violation. The third strike violation was insulting a journalist.
yeah.
This is literally this was not my decision. This is literally the Twitter logs of the old people that used to run Twitter. Who this is what they
Yeah,
wrote.
I guess what I'm saying is like under your leadership though, the suspension was kept in place. I remember you tweeted out because you're not going to bring someone back who lied about, the death of innocent children.
Yes.
Uh so if that's the case, then and we're going to uphold things fairly and firmly for all ex users. Can we expect that like if Alex or anyone else on this panel lied about Sandy Hook or an atrocity again, that they would also be banned again?
Um.
You already answered that.
Yeah, I've
He
already
did,
answered
yes, he
that.
did.
It,
Yeah, it just
And if
depends
yeah.
on the
that okay,
context.
so
That,
so
with that,
if that
just do
is
say,
the
we'll
if that
let him
is
This
the
answer.
case,
platform
Let him
will
answer.
adhere
Hold on.
to the law, and we will adhere to the law. That is what this platform will do. Um, so if somebody says does something illegal, then they will be suspended. If they do not do something illegal, then they may we will try our best to avoid any kind of permanent bans unless someone does something fundamentally illegal.
Elon, I don't know. I know we don't have much more time.
We're just trying to stay true to the Constitution of the United States in America and the laws of the country as decided by the citizens.
Elon, in the
How
time
are
we got,
you? Go ahead, Alex.
I find Elon way more interesting. And I just asked one question of Elon. Elon, it's great having you here in Texas. You're kicking ass. You're Texas through and through. Your whole spirit. We love you. Uh, Whatever happens with Trump down the road, should we change the Constitution so you can run for president? Would you ever think about that?
I would like to stay as a technologist and build rockets and electric cars and things that technologies that hopefully have a good effect on the world and advance civilization. That would be my preference. I would not like to be president. So that would I would just like to build things that are further civilization.
I think that's smart.
That's
I
my
mean, I
goal.
think that's a smart. I think that's a smart answer. Are you concerned if the deep state establishment, we know it's not just one group, is able to uh, kill Trump or not let him run for office for the repercussions? I mean, are you optimistic for the future currently, or just how do you feel about the election coming up?
Well, I think it will not be a boring year. That's for sure. I think it's going to be eventful. I suspect. I don't know. You seem to be quite concerned that people will try to assassinate Trump, but I don't know. I mean, obviously, and I'm against assassination generally. So and I guess if Hitler was alive, I'd be in favor of assassinating him. But or, Stalin, that kind of thing.
I
You
would be
know,
too. Your attitude
yeah.
is we can sell the world on freedom and humanity 2.0 and a new renaissance. The establishment will just step aside because our ideas are so good. Is that what you're saying?
Look, I think what I'm saying is that I think it is very difficult to predict the future. That we're certainly going to have a very contentious election and perhaps some contentious elections worldwide. The X platform will strive to be as truthful as possible about what's going on, and to that's going to be the goal. And SpaceX is going to build rockets, and Tesla's going to build cars, and as for what will happen, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but I think, man,
Is there any big? Is there?
2024 is going to be quite the encore for 2023, is my suspicion.
I know you've talked about incredible jets. You want to invent so many other things. Is there any other big invention you've got on the drawing board in the back of your mind that you haven't announced to the world that you want to tell people about today?
No, no. This would not be the forum for announcing any new products or technologies. So, I mean, we do have, the Neuralink chip, which I know some people might be concerned about, but that's really something that will take a very long time to be in any kind of widespread use. We've got the first use. The first patient will get a Neuralink chip. This is a quadriplegic, and it will enable them to control their computer and their phone. And then
Hey, my uncle was in a motorcycle accident and he was having seizures for about to die, couldn't even walk. He got one. It's not one of your brain chips, but a brain chip. And actually, he can walk and talk and is happy now. So that's not bad.
Exactly. So, I mean, it's the regulatory stuff on this is very intense. But the first one will have, you could think of it sort of like a telepathy. You can sort of control your computer and phone just by thinking. So it's kind of like telepathy. And then the one after that will be, I don't know, we're trying to think of a name for it, but you can think of it like blind sight. Even if somebody has lost both eyes or lost the optic nerve, is completely blind, we can actually give them some amount of sight. And ultimately, I think high resolution sight, kind of like Geordie LaForge from Star Trek. You could actually see in multiple wavelengths. You could see ultraviolet and infrared, and you even see radar if you want.
And by the way, for people that don't know, Elon's not lying. Even in MIT papers, they've actually done tests. That's what they say though. Is I know the problem is just narrowing the sight to our bandwidth. They say these people see everything, right? Like a full spectrum.
Yeah, you can have it's a point at which you have a camera. You can have a camera that can receive photons of many wavelengths. So you could see, even in darkest night, and you could see ultraviolet. You could see infrared. Like I said, you could even see radar if you want. It would be a kind of thing that would, like, I was probably trademarked something, but I think blindside is a cool name for it. It's like
beautiful.
Yeah.
Can we get one question from Mark Dice? Because this is the best interview ever. Mark Dice is a great journalist. He stood up for me for the last 5 years when nobody else would. Mark, quick question from Mark, please.
A comment, really, just to reinforce to everybody listening, all the journalists, and thank you, by the way, Elon, for unbanning Alex, for everything that you're doing for the platform, for humanity. But I just want to reinforce, and I'm glad you retweeted this, Alex, the reason why Twitter cited Alex being banned, contrary to popular belief, not because he entertained some conspiracy theories about Sandy Hook, as crazy as they were, and Elon just confirmed that the Twitter logs said this. He confronted Oliver Darcy, a public figure on public property, when he was working in the capacity of a journalist, and they cited that as.
But Mark, that's old news. Let's move on from Alex Jones.
Well,
we're talking to Elon Musk. What's your question for Elon Musk?
I didn't see the Twitter file in the Twitter files. Can you release data about the choices that were made regarding the trending list? Because the trending list drives the news cycle, as you know, and they can create a self-fulfilling prophecy by manually inserting topics in there, getting people to talk about them. It becomes a topic. It becomes news. Did I miss that in the Twitter files, or was that just not released? I would like more data on the manipulation of the trending list to manipulate the news cycles over the previous ownership.
Yeah, well, there was a significant manipulation of the trending list, worldwide. I mean, you can just, I'd say, like, as a general rule of thumb, whatever conspiracy theory you've got about Twitter is probably true, even more true than you think it is.
Are you taking precautions?
Now,
good.
Yeah, I think the path to having a sort of a clean system is maximum transparency. So that's why, like, for community notes, the software for community notes is completely open source. You can see every line. The data for community notes is completely open source. You can see the data, you can see the logic, and you can independently create the community note conclusion. So you can tell right away if there's manipulation, and there's always going to be with these things. It is not black or white. There's always going to be some degree of manipulation, but you just want to try to put as much sunlight on it. As I say, sunlight's the best disinfectant. You want to have it be as clear and transparent as possible. This will minimize the amount of manipulation. So the more visible something is, the less it is in the shadows, the cleaner it will get. Will not be perfect, but it will be much better than something that is hidden.
One other point, I hope that you're making precautions for the possibility of X being banned from the App Store, using it as a save to home screen type of a feature. As you know, that's probably a very real possibility over the next 12 months. But one other thing here, and again, appreciate your time. I would also just politely ask that the Infowars account and Owen Schroyer and Rob Dew, they're employees of Alex, be unsuspended. They were lumped in with that initial suspension. And maybe I think it's time. I do believe CNN violated the terms of service of harassment. They posted a video a while ago, years ago, showing them harassing a poor old lady because she shared something on Facebook that originated from Russia. And you can see on the house, they show up to her front yard, you can actually see her address, the number plate right on her house. And that's still on Twitter. So,
But Mark, let's not become them. Let's just
Yeah,
take Mark.
exactly.
yeah, I just kind of want to troll and give them tapes to their own
Well,
medicine. But anyway,
I do want to be clear that doxing, which includes revealing the pseudonym of someone. Um, so I want to be clear. Sometimes some publications have claimed that revealing the pseudonym of someone is not doxing when it obviously is, will result in at least a temporary suspension. We will be very reluctant to give permanent suspensions, but we will give temporary suspensions for any kind of doxing activity or anything that endangers the health of another person in a meaningful way. And
So
that
I take
includes
it you
major
don't like Nikki.
publications. It does not matter who you are. It doesn't matter how big you are or small. I should say this. There is one. We do have a UN exclusion rule, which is that if if it's a head of state recognized by the UN, even if they say things that are kind of crazy, which they do, then we don't suspend a head of state. Just for the same
I
reason
think
that the
that's
UN
good
allows heads of state to say crazy things at the UN Assembly. But I
because
think
we need
that's
to hear
probably
we
for the
need to
greater good.
hear
We need to
I
hear
need
that.
to hear what everybody has to say.
I was just going to ask. I guess you don't like Nikki Haley's idea of basically doxing everyone.
No, I hate it.
Hey,
Yeah, that's
Suleiman?
crazy.
Mark.
Look, the thing is that a lot of people obviously would face repercussions from their employer or from their government or from some organization if their identity is revealed, and that therefore inhibits the public dialogue. Um, so people, there've been professors who've been suspended for favoriting things on old Twitter. They literally got suspended for just tapping a favorite button. Um, this is so you can say like, look, if a tenured professor can get suspended from their job for just liking a post on the X platform, then obviously there is some need for people to be able to post things anonymously. Otherwise, they simply will not be able to speak their mind for
Absolutely.
fear of losing their job.
It's anti-whistleblower, but I just want to say this because I think the community notes is the best thing ever. Even if somebody says something really horrible, I think there should be some buffer zone to at least let them respond as much as they can before they get banned. Because what I see everywhere is the PR firms will say somebody has said something they didn't say. They create this woke mob response. Then the person's taken down, and then most of the time, it's not even true what was claimed.
General?
Yeah. Anyway, we're very much going to err on the side of freedom of speech, which is really just saying, in America, we're gonna uphold the Constitution of the United States, and that's what we're going to do, and uphold the laws of the country. And if the laws are changed, we'll then change our behavior to match the laws, and we'll do so. And we also can only match the laws in other countries because sometimes people will say, well, why don't you demand freedom of speech in some other country in the world? I'm like, well, we don't make the laws in that country, and if we don't adhere to the laws of the country, they will simply cut us off. And so we can't do more than that. So that's we're basically
What about the other factors, Elon? Before going to General Flynn, you've got obviously laws, but you got the revenue still running a business, and you've got external pressure. How do you balance all these when fighting for free speech?
well, we're gonna obviously favor free speech. I believe my action has been very clear in this regard. That if it is a choice between money and freedom, we will pick freedom.
General?
Yeah. Hey, thank you, Mario. Thanks for hosting this thing. You're doing a wonderful job. This is really a question for Alex and Elon, a statement. And I wish Andrew and Vivek were still on. But we've talked about these different sort of array of forces between the globalists and the humanists, or whatever the right descriptors are. Yeah, what I would really like to see, and I would love to hear Vivek's take on it because I think he's such a wonderful debater. I'd like to know if there's a possibility to set up a intellectual debate between the Alex Jones, Elon Musk, Andrew Tate, Vivek. Probably throw Tucker in there. Maybe there's Joe Rogan against an intellectual debate against the Klaus Schwab's, the Bill Gateses of the world, and then there's others
They
in
won't
that
do it
category.
because we'll kill them.
Well,
General, it's a great
but
idea.
I disagree. I mean, this is how we fight today, right? We are fighting in an information domain. Andrew, I wish he was still on because I'd love to hear his take. Because Andrew starts to imply, and there's a lot of people that imply this. We're going to move to something that we don't want to, a place that we don't want to be because of this. Frankly, what I see is a globalist takeover, and I'm all with you, Alex, and you and I have talked about this a lot. But what I would really like to see is an intellectual debate and a challenge. I mean, otherwise, because 2024 is going to be for the United States is going to be a historically consequential moment in history, and I would prefer that we extraordinary session that I've been listening to for the last couple of hours here, and I would really like to hear at least Alex, because you're on, and I think Elon's still on. What do you think about setting up some type of intellectual debate, or at least array
on X? On X as
yeah.
well, doing it through Spaces.
Well, on X, on X or however. Yeah, I would love to see them come on X to do this because this would be wonderful.
Would you, Alex, would you be open? You and Elon, would you be open for such a debate?
Well, let me just throw this in because I'm chomping at the bit here, and then Elon will take over. It should be on X. They had the last Republican debate, and it had like 5 million viewers. This is going to have 50 million viewers. We keep acting like dinosaur media even still matters. It should only be held on X. And I would love to see it in this format or with an added video component to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're
challenge their intellectual
Spaces,
ideas.
by the way, so
I'm sorry.
that's coming soon.
And that's my point. That's my point.
Yeah.
We have to challenge their intellectual arguments.
Yeah, I agree with the general. What's
Mario? Debate.
Hold on, Laura.
I was just going to say that from a feature standpoint, we are working on adding video to Spaces. So it'll just be a simple thing where you can turn video on or off, and then whoever's speaking at the video will switch to them, just like if it's like a group call or something like that.
Oh wow.
So that I think will help. Because it's helpful to see people's body language as I speak. It conveys more information if you can see their face and their body language if they wish to.
When do you think that will?
We're hopeful we hope to release that functionality before the end of the year, but certainly by early next year.
Huge. Well, that's a big technological announcement.
That's a big one. That's big.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll go to CJ.
But that's very big, so that's pretty.
Okay.
Easy, frankly. But yeah, so it'll be cool, I think. Yeah.
Well, it's just fascinating how far Spaces. I remember being on Spaces since the early days, pre-Elon, to see how far it's gone and to be able to have discussions like this. I don't think the audience understands. There's never been any platform where voices from all sides, voices that were censored before, we're all speaking in one place.
Oh, let's be clear. There's been more innovation since Elon took over than the whole before.
I'll jump off, but I just want to say thanks to Elon.
Since the rather embarrassing Ron DeSantis situation, I really have to credit the X team for making massive improvements to Spaces, because it basically did not work at scale until a massive amount of work was put into it. It obviously broke rather embarrassingly in the Ron DeSantis situation. And we didn't realize how fragile and weak it was. And since then, we've put massive work into making Spaces actually robust and be able to have, you can have, at this point, millions of people listening simultaneously.
Let me be clear, Elon.
Difficult to do.
Elon, I've never seen an interface that works this good. I mean, you've got a whole how you're doing this. And General Flynn did bring up the best question in the last 2 hours. So I'm sorry I was getting so excited and interrupted the General. He's absolutely right. We should be challenging them to debate us. I agree with you, General. That's really a key point. I'm saying they're too cowardly to do it. How do we?
Jack, your mic, you can mute it. I can't mute you, Jack. But yeah, go ahead. Just quickly, before you continue, Alex, Elon, I don't know if you remember, I think the first space he came on, and we hit 100K live listeners, and it broke, so it wouldn't show.
Yeah, true.
I don't know how you do it,
We're
Alex.
109,000 right now, 109,000.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it, but I know that that we have to do it. We don't have I think we are in a place where we don't have a choice right now. I think the intellectual arguments on their side, I just think that they're going to fall flat, and they don't really have a good argument. And Elon mentioned it early on about how much energy it takes to lie. I mean, it just does, to lie to so many damn people. But we have to pick this fight. It has to be intellectual. Our intellectual arguments are much, much stronger. And I just think we have to have the right type of people. And, those people have been on here today and invite these people. I mean, if they don't want to come, we call them out as cowards. I mean,
Wait a minute.
why
Being
not?
poor and everybody. Wait a minute. General Flynn, hold on a minute. I'm going to call you out right now. Eating bugs, drag queen story time, open borders, World War III. You're saying that's not how you're saying their plan isn't wonderful?
Hey, for a guy that has had to eat bugs, Alex, they don't taste very good. So, yeah.
I'll go one
Well, guys,
step further. I think we should see a 2v2 MMA duel between Elon and Alex versus Klaus Schwab and Bill Gates. I
Love
think
it.
that'd be the real
Love
I
deal.
think Elon should call them out. It'll be bigger than the top UFC fight. If those cowards will show up, my God, it'll be their Waterloo.
Elon, you know how the media works. Do you want to call them out, and then you'll get that snippet all over the media?
Well, I'm certainly happy to have a debate with Klaus Schwab or others. You know, I think you guys may have been following what's going on in Davos more than I have, and certainly more than the vast majority of people have. I think most people don't even know that there is a conference in Davos or the World Economic Forum. And I've only seen snippets, but you know some of the snippets are concerning, and you know I don't think we should have a sort of an unelected quasi-governmental organization deciding our future. I mean, who made them the boss? I don't. I mean, do people even know that they're doing this? Like, they're. I'm not okay with some organization, you know, that I don't vote for controlling, you know, my destiny or that of other people. So, and they, I don't know if they're necessarily fully controlling, but they certainly are influencing things. And you know, and it's you know, I just don't. I think an unelected world government is not a good idea.
Well,
But
Klaus Schwab,
how much, how much,
Elon Musk breaks the internet.
Elon, on that point, CJ, I'll go to you right after for a question, then Suleiman. But on that point, how much control, you kind of changed it, whether control or influence? Because on one side, you've got people that say, you know, they control the world. Every decision is kind of influenced or they
They're
make that
trying
decision
to
behind the
control the
scenes.
world. They're
On
trying.
the other side, there's the people making the argument that they're trying to do the right thing and things are being taken out of proportion. It's all a conspiracy. Where do you think on that spectrum, in your opinion, we stand?
Well, I mean, the original premise of the World Economic Forum was to have a some kind of forum where there would be interaction between government leaders and commercial leaders, sort of the heads of corporations and governments, and that there would be some forum for them to talk. And like that original premise, I think is not a bad one, because right now you've got the UN, but that's just government to government, and you've got you know a bunch of sort of individual situations where you know commercial leaders will meet with government people one on one, but there's the you know